and welcome to another edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, DT Critic, bringing you all the news unfit to print, but I want to anyway, because I'm just that kind of wild and crazy guy. This week we have planet parades, legendary performers, and heartwarming transformations. So let's get started, shall we? Story number 1. Planets steal MCR's thunder. Once upon a time, there was a band, and the band wrote good music, so popular they count as one of the top 3 emo bands of all time. And at the pinnacle of My Chemical Romance's popularity was the Black Parade. Then the band disappeared and went the way of many popular bands, drifting off into eternity. And the longer they stayed broken up, the more their legend grew, until the clamor for their music brought them out of retirement in 2017. Well, evidently, the planets got jealous of this band and their Black Parade, deciding to have a parade of their own this past week in the night sky. If you were looking up to the heavens this past Tuesday, 5 stars would be aligned in the night sky. Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Uranus, and Mars will be marching across the sky as they dance into our hearts and minds. If you missed it, you might have to wait another MCR retirement years before seeing it again. But don't you fear, solar system lovers. Another event will be coming in April of 2024 to whet your astral appetites. A total eclipse of the sun. And speaking of less than stellar cataclysmic events, that brings us to story number 2. San Francisco's gone soft. 1906, the great San Francisco earthquake, estimated magnitude 7.9, over 3,000 dead. 1989, Loma Prieta quake, magnitude 6.9, 68 dead. 2023, Daly City earthquake, magnitude 3.4, mild heartburn. I don't mind good hyperbole. I am, after all, writing this crazy ode to bad news storytelling. But I think the people of San Francisco have carried things a bit too far. With the way news coverage of the most recent San Francisco earthquake came about, one would have to wonder whether or not the world was going to end. Maybe the apocalypse is already upon us. I can get it. For those visiting the area, that first little shake underneath the ground can be a little unsettling. But for Californians who's lived through earthquake after earthquake dating back in recorded history for at least the last 150 years, a little 3.4 sounds more like a jolt of caffeine you would have with your morning coffee. For those dealing with the epic magnitude of that earthquake, I prescribe a chill pill. 2 hours at the gym, and call me absolutely never. Which brings us to story number 3. Barney returns. Its legend, wait for it, dairy. For those who love the original series, How I Met Your Mother, for all those years from 2005 to 2014, Barney has returned in the spin-off How I Met Your Father, starring Hilary Duff. Of course, bringing an old cast member to a spin-off can reek of desperation on the part of the showrunners. But given they have already reached a season 2, unlike spin-offs like That 80s Show, and throwing in someone can be an added little bit of nostalgia for the series. As for his character, I would have to say that a tame Barney isn't quite as fun as the original. In the original, everyone saw him as a cad, but he was that group's cad. Now he's a tamed dad, which would be a little disappointing were it not for the electric shocks he has attached to himself to prevent him from becoming the Barney of old. I suppose you gotta do what you gotta do, and Barney is nothing if not resourceful. So we pay our respects to the Barney of old while wishing the new and improved Barney shocking success, if you can call it that. Which brings us to story number 4, our feel-good story of the week. Renner decides Hawkeye wasn't enough, he wanted to be Wolverine. Look out, Hugh Jackman. If any of you are fans of the Marvel Universe, you will immediately recognize Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye from the series. While he is a great addition to the cast, his character never really had a breakout role until Disney Plus decided to give Hawkeye his own TV show. But by that point, you knew they were already moving on as they were introducing a female version of Hawkeye who had the talent and skills he did in the series. Renner decided to take things a little more drastic and literally became Wolverine. Okay, I kid, a little. What makes this whole thing a feel-good story is him rescuing his nephew from a snowplow and then being crushed by it himself. 8 ribs, a right knee, a right ankle, a left tibia, a right clavicle, a right shoulder, face, eye socket, mandible, all broken. Plus, a little lung collapse and a pierced liver later, and a little titanium, and the actor is back and better than ever. And if they can do anything with him, by rights, they should make him the new Wolverine. Just saying. Nevertheless, Disney Plus has done a series on the comeback of Jeremy Renner from this remarkable injury. From worries about being a science experiment to living your life on your terms, we can only hope to find a little bit of Mr. Renner inside all of us. Which brings me to story number 5, and my last one of this week. A shout out to my inspirations for this new series. First, I want to throw a shout out to Alex Melton. I know I don't know him from a hole in the wall, not even a rabbit hole, but seeing him created the whole concept for me. I was on YouTube checking out one thing after another until I bumped into this amazing and talented musician online. It was unlike any experience I had, and far more pleasant than listening to political propaganda, which is easy to be sucked into these days. I feel like I had gone down Alice's rabbit hole and into Wonderland. Whether I find that white rabbit or not, I wasn't even sure whether I cared anymore. If you want to follow rabbit holes and they lead you to talents like that, you gotta thank your lucky stars. Thank you, Mr. Melton. Next, I want to give a shout out to Sandra Barker. I used to have my own semi-successful blog, and I had many friends from that experience, but I was forced to quit it because of family issues. She stuck by me afterward and encouraged me to get back into the game. So here I am. Thanks, Sandra. And finally, I want to give a shout out to the notorious Miss DLJ. I hope she knows who she is. This Miss DLJ encouraged me to write and get back into making YouTubes I enjoyed from years before. She has a heart as big as All Outdoors, and it is an inspiration. Thanks, Miss Jones. Well, that's all she wrote for now. Leave your likes, dislikes, and hate mail in the comments. And I promise to get back to the hate mail on the first of never. This is DT Critic signing off, saying come back soon or you'll be missing something. Legend, wait for it. No, seriously, get out of here. And I hope to see you soon.